Hi there, my name is Rachel and I have another crochet tutorial for you today. I'm going to show you how to make this cute little fidget frog. It can be just a little fidget toy, or you can make him into a keychain like I showed in the video. These are really popular with kids because the way the legs move, it's really fun. So let's hop into it. And as always, if you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, and then you can subscribe to my page for more tutorials. So the supplies you need are, of course, your yarn. This is worsted weight. Your crochet hook, this is 3.5 millimeter. A keychain ring if you're making a keychain. Some safety eyes. A yarn needle, your stitch marker, your scissors, and your stuffing. So the first thing we're going to do is make one of the circles. Looks kind of like a coaster. So you just make your magic ring. And we're going to put 8 single crochets in the magic ring. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, whoops, there's one of them, and 8. We're going to tighten that ring up. It's nice and tight. Alright, and the second round we're going to increase every stitch, all 8. When you increase them, you're putting 2 single crochets in each stitch, so it's going to bring our count up to 16. So here's the first one, and I'm going to use my stitch marker to mark that stitch. It's good to keep track of where you're going. There's 2. And 4. 6. And 8. 10. And 12. 14. And 16. Whoops, got through both. And for amigurumi, the way to get really nice tight stitches is actually to bring your yarn or your crochet hook over the yarn and then under. I can show that up close in a moment again. So tighten up your middle string there. Now round 3, we are going to do a single crochet and then increase, and we're going to go all the way around. So there's going to be 8 sets of that. So the first one, single, mark the stitch. All right, and then the increase. So you put your hook over the yarn, bring it in, and then you just grab under it like you normally would with a single crochet. That just makes your stitches a little bit tighter than a regular single crochet. So again, a single and a double. And we're going to do that all the way around. I call it double, but it's an increase. Single crochet and an increase. And a single crochet again and an increase. So you're doing this all the way around 8 times. You're going to have 24 stitches at the end of your round. I often don't count. It's probably a bad habit, but I'll count on here just to make sure. I'm kind of freehanding this today. I'll make a written pattern that I can put up for sale too if you prefer, like a written one or a printable. All right, so we're going to count these. So we have, bring it up a little closer. That 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and the 1 in the stitch marker is 24. All right, so the next round, we are going to do 2 single crochets in a row and then an increase. So there's 1, 2, and an increase. And keep going with that. 1, 2, and an increase. All the way around. Alright, so this next round we are going to do 3 single crochets and then an increase. So we're going to keep that going all the way around. You can actually see if you're in the middle and you lose track of where you are, you can look back and see there's a single, single, a single, and you can see the 2 going in 1 stitch. So that is your increase. Single, 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 and then increase. So you don't have to actually undo everything. You can look back and count. It's a lot easier than like undoing everything. Nobody likes to go back and frog everything, which is funny. I'm making a frog. Alright, I'm going to stop the video because I don't think you want to watch me do that all the way around. Okay, I just finished that round, and at the end you should have 40 stitches. I already counted them, but I'm not going to do that on the video. It takes a long time. So that one we were doing the increase, and then 3 single crochet and another increase. So this next time we're going to do 4. So 1, the stitch marker, and 2, 3, 4, and an increase. Step, we are going to make the legs, and we're actually going to base it on the size of your circle. I don't know what yarn you're using or what hook size, so your circle might actually be a different size than mine. This is maybe like, I don't know, 2.5, 3 inches or so. But we're actually going to like measure across it when we do our chains just to make sure it fits. I'm going to cut this off so it's out of my way. All right. So you put your slip stitch on your hook, and then we're going to chain so that the legs hang maybe an inch on either side. And we're just going to chain all the way across and compare it to our piece. I'm not counting because yours might end up being a totally different size than mine, and the feet is the part that matters for this pattern. A few more. Let's see. I'm going to do just a couple more. I think it looks fun when they're a little bit long and kind of hang a little bit. Yeah, that's about good. So it sticks out maybe an inch on either side. Okay. So to make your foot, we are going to actually use a stitch down here, but I'm going to do the first toe. So I already have 1 chain for the first toe, and we're going to do 3 total, and we're going to go back into that chain and just do a slip stitch. We're going to do 3 again, 3 chains, and then back into that same stitch, another slip stitch, and then 3 chains again, and then back in that same one, slip stitch, and that's how you make your little toes. So to get back to the other side, because we're going to do that on this side as well, we're actually going to put a chain in every, or a single crochet in every single one of these chains, and make sure that your chains are going straight. So we're just going to single crochet all the way down, and that will make the arm a little less wobbly, make it thicker looking. Alright, so here's the last one. So we are going to put a single crochet in that one, and then we're going to use that one to be that slip stitch. So just chain 3, and I'm actually going to go over this one to kind of get to make it stay, and then chain 3 again, another slip stitch. Make sure I keep going over that. I can get rid of that tail. So 2, 3, and back in that slip stitch, or that chain, slip stitch. I'll cut my yarn. Oops, it's gonna be tight. Sometimes it's hard to pull because I crochet so tight. All right. So we're gonna tie those together, and then tuck them in the back. And you can actually use these to close any holes. So you have like a little hole where you slip stitch around. You can use your yarn needle and go around in those stitches and just kind of pull them tight if you like. Otherwise, use your yarn needle and just tuck them all in. So far there's one arm, and we're going to do another one. So I'm going to turn off the video for that. Alright, I am back after finishing 2 arms and 2 circles. This one has an active stitch on it because on the second one, first I made this, then I made the arms, then I made the second one because I want to crochet directly from this active stitch. I went ahead and I put some stitch markers in to mark some certain stitches. We have these 4 are going to be where the legs are coming out on either side, and this one, because I'm making a keychain, I'm going to put the keychain in the top in this stitch. So these 2 leg ones, if you look directly from your active stitch, is where I put the keychain one, right in the middle on the top. And for the legs, I found the increase, and then I skipped a stitch, and I put that stitch marker in that next stitch. And I did that on the same side. So I found the increase, and I skipped that stitch and put it in the next one. Increase, skip that stitch, and put it in the next one. And we're literally going to skip that stitch when we crochet all around. So that's why I marked them, just to kind of remind myself. And now, so this is actually going to be the top, and this one's going to be the bottom. So I'm going to put the eyes in this one. And I didn't really pre-plan where my eyes are going to go. So I guess I'm just kind of putting them in the increase. Follow that one over and put it in the increase as well. See if you like that. And then I'm gonna just sew on a little mouth at the end. You don't have to have a mouth because it would look like your frog is pointing the other direction. I guess at the end I'll decide if I want a mouth or not. And for now, so it looks pretty cute. So I'm gonna just snap them on. And because these eyes have like a peak, they're not completely circle, I'm gonna make sure that they are straight. It's hard to adjust them after you put them in sometimes. So make sure the eye is pointing straight up. And In there, good. Okay, so we're going to take the second one and we're going to line up where the ends of the stitches are and then flip it upside down. And you can kind of see how they're going to continue. So this one has like a space here where the next stitch starts, or well, technically that's the first stitch. And this one has the bump down and then it goes up. So we're actually going to line those up, which is nice, keeps it even. We're going to put our hook back in the active stitch. Make sure everything's lined up nice. And we're just going to go right into the first stitch. And this is going to be, the tail's going to be kind of in the way. We're going to sew that in at the end. So we're just going to create a single crochet. And then in the next stitch, we're going to do the same thing. All the way around. And we're going to stop a couple times to put stuffing in the arms as well, and then the keychain if you're making a keychain. So just crochet around, make sure you're lining up the next stitch on the top and also the next stitch on the bottom. And if you have to flip it over and look, then it's a good idea to do that just to make sure you don't skip any. Every so often, kind of check and make sure you're on. Looks really good. Alright, so we're coming up on the first leg. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my first leg, and there is a top and a bottom to the leg. You see that active side in the fingers? You can kind of tell the top. So make sure the top is up. I'm just going to lay that in there. And we're going to skip that stitch that our stitch marker is in, but we don't want this active stitch to kind of hang around the front. So we're actually going to do a chain. We're going to take our hook out and we're going to put our hook into the next stitch. Make sure that leg is kind of pushed back. Look at the back. Make sure you're skipping that stitch. Put your hook into that next stitch after the skip stitch. And you're going to want to grab the active stitch. Sometimes it's hard to do. Actually, I'm going to pull the active stitch through. Then we're going to continue on another loop. There. Make sure your arm is able to move. If it's too tight, you might have to actually chain 2 and skip 2 spaces. Depends on how big your leg is. You want it to move but not like fall out. So you do want it a little snug, but not so snug that it doesn't move at all. Alright, so continue on. And keep crocheting single crochets. Lining up stitches. And then when we get to the next leg, we'll do the same thing on the rest of that leg. So, the last one. And now, take your arm, and if your stitch marker gets in, oh yeah, make sure that it's not stuck on the eye. If your stitch marker gets in the way, you always take them out. I like to take them out because I like to kind of see the project as it's coming along. So with the stitch marker in the way, you can't really see it as much. All right, make sure again that it's facing up, that it didn't twist on the inside. Alright, so chain 1. Take your hook out, skip that one stitch, put your hook in the next stitch, push the arm back, and then look on the back. That one stitch, go into the next one. And we are going to pull this loop through the stitches. Make sure your arm can move. Then pull another loop up, give it a little single crochet, and keep going. I stitch so tight. My legs are gonna hardly move. I just gotta remind myself all the time. I gotta stitch them, make the stitches a lot looser. Alright, so we're coming to where if you're making a keychain, then you're gonna actually put the keychain in. But I'm gonna take a second to actually put a little stuffing on the other side of that leg, because once you get close to closing it up, it might actually be hard to do. You don't want to put a ton of stuffing there. When you pull your leg, you don't want it to pull the stuffing out. So I'm just gonna put a tiny bit just to make sure that corner kind of bumps up. So I'm going to show that in there too. Okay, so if you're making a keychain, I'll take that stitch marker out so it's out of the way. Grab your keychain and make sure all the loops are closed really tight. Sometimes they come with an extra ring on the bottom. This one didn't, so we're going to crochet. I didn't even check to make sure that fits. It does! Alright. So we're going to crochet right into that hook there. I don't know if I can get it back out. Alright. So we're going to go through that stitch that we had the stitch marker in. Oops. I'm actually going to put that on my hook here in the middle. And then go through the next stitch. And make sure you pull that loop through so that it goes right through your keychain, and we're going to make sure we pull that to the top in a minute. And you just finish your crochet or your single crochet, pull that up, then carry on. And if you have a different way you like to put key rings in, you can do your favorite way. You can always put it in at the end, like just loop it on the stitches, however you like to do it, but that's how I like to do it because it kind of hides the end. And I don't know, I think it looks kind of hidden, but it also looks, I don't know, kind of looks like a tongue. So I'm probably not going to put a mouth because it kind of looks like the mouth's on this side now. It's pretty funny. Alright, so I'm going to keep crocheting, make sure that I'm lining up stitches, of course. And we're going to repeat the same process with the other leg. And you can stop when you feel comfortable to add stuffing. It's up to you. Oh, okay. Alright, so chain one. Take that stitch out, or the stitch marker out. Get your next leg and make sure it's facing up. And lay it right in there. This one's going to be a little harder to do because you can't lay it in straight. You're fighting with this over here. So you have to kind of make it go in like a U shape. So keep the active stitch behind. Again, skip that stitch where the stitch marker was and go into the next stitch. Go around the leg. On the other side, we're going to skip this stitch again. Go into this one. And we're going to grab that loop, pull it through, then make sure it's a little bit loose, go through the stitch again, pull up another loop, single crochet them, then carry on again. Now I'm going to stop and put more stuffing in because it's going to be at the end very soon. Alright, back up. So I'm actually going to move the leg out of the way. Put stuffing in the middle of the frog. Stuff it pretty good. All the way to both corners. And then, of course, you're going to want to make sure you tuck the stuffing right behind the eyes because you don't want to feel the eyes. When you squeeze this thing, you don't want to feel the eyes on the back side, like poking out. Make sure it's stuffed really good behind and also between the eyes. And stuff it real good. And I'll put a tiny bit more, and then I'm gonna stuff a tiny bit more before I close up the thing on the other side of the leg. So when you do this part, of course, make sure your leg is again laying straight. You don't want it to twist and put it in upside down. So just lay it straight, kind of push it in and sandwich it. Put a few more stitches. And then add a tiny bit more stuffing. It's really windy today. I keep hearing the wind. That's probably going to pick it up on the camera. The wind and cars driving by. Alright. So if that noise is distracting, I'm sorry about that. I don't yet have a microphone that filters out that stuff. Alright, so before I do the last few stitches, I'm going to make sure I put a little stuffing inside behind this part. And I know that this one's the next stitch, so I'm going to take that out so it's out of my way. Now to get that in, you might need to push it in with a tool. Just going to use the back of my hook. Just a tiny bit, just enough to make it poof out, but not to stop the leg from moving. You want the leg to be able to move still. The curls. I want the leg just to move. That's so fun. I think these are so cute. All right, stop playing with it. Keep finishing it. Okay. So we are at that next stitch where we're gonna skip. So chain one, and for the last time, skip that stitch and go into the next one. Push the arm up again. Make sure it stays straight. Skip that next stitch and go into the next one. Oops, the arm is trying to pop out. Stay over there. All right. Grab your active stitch. Pull it through both stitches. I hope I'm getting this on camera good. Okay. Tails my way. Now go through that one more time. Grab another loop. Crochet them together. And make sure you have everything as stuffed as you want it. I'm going to stuff a little bit more right there because we only have like, well, I think that's only one stitch or two stitches left. Let's see. It's going to be hard to get that in there, but you can use like the back of a pen, a little wooden dowel, whatever you can to get that in there. I don't like to have a ton of tools, so I just kind of use my hook since I already have it with me. I'm going to put a tiny bit more because I want the back end to be a little poof here. Okay. There. That's probably good. There. Okay. I think that's good. So I'm gonna continue by doing the last. I think it's actually 2 stitches. And this tail is gonna get annoying. So I'm actually going to go in and pull it out through. I don't want it to be in the way. So I'm going to just kind of... Oh man. Pulling some stuffing out with it. Okay. I'll put all that back in after. Okay. Last stitch. Oh, come on. I'm through only one of them. Okay. Okay. Single crochet. Now I'm going to do an invisible close stitch. So I'm going to show you what to do. Pull that out, you're going to thread your needle. And then you go through the stitch after it. And then back down through that stitch. And the little bump behind it. And what that does is it makes the chain continue on, and you can see, you can't really tell where the beginning and the ending is now. So, tuck it in wherever you like. I'm going to bring it out with this one. But this one is so I can tie them together and then hide them together. Stuffing. Alright, tie my 2 tails. Should have done this on the back side, but that's okay. Alright, I'll come a little shorter. And then I'm just going to put my hook through where they came out, pull in, and then hide it in there. I always push so hard on my hook, I kind of bend my hook. Oops. Push back in. And then make sure that there's no holes. Alright, and there you have it. So this little frog guy is done. And you can see it's a keychain. You don't have to do a keychain. Pull him out his legs, make him look funny. Just kind of fiddle with it. You could add beads or sequins for little spots. Maybe make him look like a speckled frog. You can add a little tongue if you want. But I'm going to leave him like this because I think he's cute. And there you have it. Thank you for watching.